As we look at Micah, I want to perhaps look at the role of a prophet as we explore what he has to say. And hopefully when you read it in a way that's a bit more meditative than what we're going to look at it this morning, you'll be able to appreciate some of the background to this. The role of a prophet, and Micah in particular, is somebody who seeks God and they speak on behalf of God. It sounds very simple, but in the midst of that, that's not all they do. The prophet is an intercessor. God calls them watchmen. They're people who keep watch on God. They watch, they listen, they speak. But when they watch, something's not just happening in here, in their mind, in their soul, their spirit. Something's happening deep in their heart, and I'll show you that in a moment. Genuine prophets are highly emotional people. I have known probably 3 prophets throughout my life. One we had here just recently. Another one was one of the most unusual people. And by the way, prophets usually are pretty unusual people. They do really weird things. That the role of a prophet is not just to speak. They're not just messengers. These are people that care. They deeply care. So I don't know whether that fits your stereotypical example of what you think a prophet's like. But this was the role of a prophet. Now these guys also, the language of a prophet. We're going to read here in the first couple of chapters, things that in English we miss. If we were reading Hebrew, we'd be laughing our heads off. If we could get this guy, this old crusty guy, 46 years of being a prophetic ministry from the bush, rocking up smelling like sheep or figs or whatever he smelt like, with dirty, rusty hands, and there he is with this splintery stick, and then he says, he's got this word from God, and he comes out with these statements, these little statements about these towns, about how you guys have all gone away from God. You need to come back to God. I'm calling you back to God. But he doesn't say it like that. The way he says it is he uses pun. Pun. And if we could pick it up in the Hebrew, we'd read something like this. There's the city of Gath. And there's the city of Arphor. And Arphor is the name of this city. And it sounds very, very similar to another Hebrew word. And that it's the Hebrew word for dust and dirt. And so this city that sounds like dust, we find Micah comes and says, you guys had better repent or the Lord's going to put dust on you. Micah was apparently an absolute crack-up. So again, we've got this prophet who apparently may have even been laughing while he was sharing this. So the language of the prophet is word pictures. They use word pictures. So he uses puns. He uses allegory. So he uses things that describe one thing to describe another. And we're going to see that he uses hyperbole. Hyperbole. Could you just come and tell the people what hyperbole means, Peter? Sore throat. All right. Well, hyperbole... Hyperbole is a common prophetic thing. It's where they exaggerate it so big that it sounds ridiculous. You know, like we find the prophets often saying things like this, that an army from the north is going to come down and the whole earth will shake when they arrive. That's hyperbole. It's what my mother told me not to do. Don't exaggerate. But the prophets did it all the time. The whole earth shook. And you read this, and apparently the Bible writers that God used, they loved this hyperbole, exaggerate it out, make it sound bigger and grander. And that's what, so you're going to read things in here about, like the whole earth will be shaken. Does it mean, that we in Tasmania, if we were alive at this time, would have gone, whoa, what was that? That must have been the Philistines arriving in Israel. No, it doesn't mean that. It's language, you see. It's like some people get really upset. Some atheists go, oh, the Bible's unscientific because it says the sun rises and the sun sets. Now, from a purely astronomical point of view, the sun doesn't rise. You understand the earth rotates. And they go, see, the Bible's wrong. Well, you are just a dill. This is just using common language. It's just using the language that you and I... If I said to you, oh, I'll laugh my head off. Do you look at me like, well, how'd you get it back on? Of course not. We use this, and prophets use this kind of language as well. Now, I said that these guys feel what they're saying, and the word for that is they lament. At the moment, I'm just reading and preparing ahead, and I'm looking at the book of Lamentations, where Jeremiah did this a lot. Lament. What does it mean to lament? It means to feel something so deeply. You ever heard some sad news that, like, you just, there's degrees of sad news. You can hear sad news and you go, oh. And it's like you forget about it after that. Someone says, oh, this week, you hurt your hand, Marty. So we'll go, oh. Anyway, and we move on. And if you're a bloke and you go, I hurt my hand, they go, oh, it's nothing, have a look at this one. And it's like we up the stakes a bit anyway. But there's another type of sad news where you can't shake it. And it gets you down and you worry about it and you think about it. Then there's lamenting. It's where you are so gripped by some sad, bad news that you weep, you can't get it out of your head, you shake your head, and it's like, what? Why? And it's a lament. And now this is what Micah did. Micah lamented.